Hi folks, and welcome back, and let's just zoom out if I can. Yeah, I can. That'll do. What about this other camera? No, that's all the way out. Anyway, just check we haven't locked up on that. We don't think we should do. No, we're okay. Right, we're still on the Philips 830A radio, and all the valve positions are actually pretty clear once you rub the dirt off. If we just get our cotton bud, we are going to, in this video, we're going to have a look at the circuit. But before we do that, see, I thought they'd rubbed off, but they haven't. Look, they're actually there. Look at that little drill. This chassis is going to clean up really well. So if we go to the other one, should be around there somewhere. There we go. Ooh, I'm not putting that back in my mouth. Let's get another one. Turn the chassis around and clean that one there. And this chassis is going to clean up really well, I'll tell you that now. There we go. The valves are, for those who missed it, we'll start to rectify. It's an 1821. The audio output is a PN24A. I think this one is the first audio, is 244V. Then we've got an S4 V13, and it's the same here, S4 V13. There we go. We've got our dial lamp here. This has had a few repairs and modifications over the course of its life, and the reason why I say that is because that wire feels a bit crusty. We'll probably replace those grid cap wires, probably replace those if we can get into here. This is, and that one's actually looks like it's receded a bit, because that is supposed to be up there, but that goes there, so that's receded a bit. It's actually on a spring that is supposed to clip in, but let's not worry about that for now. We'll sort that out as and when we need to. All this will all get all this can be all polished up and look really nice. I mean, it would have been all nice and shiny when it was new. So if we get, assuming we get this thing working, we will actually do a full clean of the chassis. So what we all want to look at really, and I said I was going to try and do it, and I think I've managed it, is let's just flick through what we've got. Let's just move these remotes. There we go. Right. So what we'll do, we'll go, that's the other camera there, and we haven't frozen. Hello. Hello. Anyway, oh, I've not put the chat up, have I? Let me put the chat up, and then what we'll do then, we'll go through the circuit and have a chat about the circuit. So we need to go to there, I think. No, we'll go to there and then down to chat. And just move this so we're actually, there we go. Make sure we're not, that'll do. Good evening and a warm welcome to you all, as I've already said. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come out of studio mode and see if I can still change this so that I can look at the circuit as well easily. So scene transitions, no. No, I don't want that. Let's go back. Studio mode, right. Right, so hang on. That's it. There we go. We're back to where we want to be. I want to go to scene 4. Right, and this is the circuit. And it's the circuit only. I've made this screen big enough so that we can see. I've shrunk this down a bit. And we should all be able to see the circuit. Now if we go to the now if I go to here, come out of studio mode. Now I can read the circuit along with you now. So basically this is the Philips 830A superinductance receiver from 1932, and we're actually looking at the circuit. As you can see, it's 4 valves. There's 4 valves in the circuit. You probably can't see my mouse moving about. I haven't figured that bit out yet. And this is the capacitor can down here. This has got C, trying to read them, C12 it looks like, C7, C12, C13, C15, C16 and C17 in it. They're all in this capacitor pack here, in this what looks like an overgrown sardine can, which is probably what it is really. And we've got another one of those packs, but it doesn't show it us. This is the circuit as it appears, and I hope it's clear enough for you all to read. I mean, I can read it. I hope it's clear enough for you all to read. Right, so we've got the AC. We've got the AC over this side. It is an AC receiver, which is good. We've got a single throw switch, which is over this side, and I'm hoping that switch is to live and not the neutral. We've got our transformer here with our windings, secondaries and primaries. We've also got here we've got V5, which is our rectifier, which is the 1821. Although I did speak to Steve earlier, and Steve did tell me that you can actually use a few different rectifiers instead of that, so Steve told me that on the phone, so thank you very much for that information, Steve. It tells you circuit diagram of the Philips 838 super inductance receiver. The coupling between aerial sockets A1 and A2 consists of only their mutual capacity. The diagram on the left shows the circuit, on the left below the circuit shows the connections of the large condenser block as seen in the under chassis view, where the dotted line portion is hidden by the chassis deck. So you would only really see this part of it. You'd only see half of it under the chassis. And we've got C16 and C17 here. And this is T3, which is your mains transformer. So basically these are actually low value capacitors. They're actually, I think they're 1 and 2 microfarad or something daft, or 0.1 and 2 microfarad. I can't remember what I said earlier, I've not looked since, but the values are here, and I'm wondering if I don't want to disturb this. I could actually change it, but you know, the one thing it doesn't tell you is the voltages that the capacitors need to be. Now, given that we know that the highest voltage in the radio does not exceed 175 volts, if we put capacitors in rated at 300 volts, we know we're gonna be okay. Because I will buy overrated capacitors to put in there. I'm not going to order them just yet because I'm going to see what I can get at Goulburn on Sunday. I'm going to reserve. I will look and I will put stuff in my watch list on Fleabay, but I'm not going to do anything. Nobody's actually commented yet. You know, the circuit's up there for all to see. Some of you requested the circuit. It's up there, so you know, but moving on. Hello Andy Mouse, how are you doing, my friend? I hope you're in fine feckle and not been eating too much cheese. Yeah, and avoid those mouse traps, they're not very good round your neck. Yeah. Good evening, Harvey. We're just examining the circuit of this the Philips 830A from 1932, as you're probably aware. I hope you can all see the image clearly. It will depend on the kind of device you're using. I mean, I've got the image on a 32-inch Sony, but I'm not using the full 32-inch because the program window is maximised, and it yeah. So I'm using about 14 inches. My actual picture size is about 14 inches, and if we come off the smoothers, shame about the big block caps. It is a shame about them, but there's nothing we can do about it, Andy Mouse. All we can do really is do what the last person did, is replace the capacitors that are in there. I will test them, of course. You know, well, I'm glad you're finding it very clear. Yeah, it's clear here, I can see what I'm doing. What I did to get the image from a PDF, what I did, I went online and there was a free PDF to JPEG programmer provide. It's not a program as such, as a service provided by Adobe, who had originally made Acrobat Reader, and I just used their service, their free service, to convert it to a JPEG so that I could put it up here on the screen. I could have probably done it with a file, but as I'm already acquainted with using JPEGs, I decided to just do that. It seemed easier, and it's and you just create a scene. You just create a scene so that you can display it just like you would a camera. You can click on the transition button and do it just as you would with a camera. And I think it's you know, I think this is yeah. So let's have a look anyway. Let's try and move it a bit. Pardon me. Yeah, I can't understand, Harvey, why you're not getting notified. And Andy Mouse was notified, so it's got to be somewhere at your end, Harvey. It's just got to be. It's probably that crappy iPad that you're always whining about. Yeah. Anyway, let's go through the circuit if we can. So we're coming off the rectifier. We're coming off the rectifier. Here. We've got the anodes here. We're coming off the rectifier, and we're going. It's a full wave rectifier in this, according to the. It looks like it's supposed to be a full wave rectifier. That looks only like half wave to me. But it says in the circuit that it's full wave rectification. Oh, hang on, let me just have a look down the other side in case I've missed something. But that certainly to me looks like half wave rectification. We've got the heater here, we've got the cathode, we've got the winding here, we've got the heater stroke cathode here. Anyway, we're going into C16, I think. Yeah, C16, and that takes us into the. It's supposed to be an energizer. It's supposed to be an electro. What's the word? It's supposed to be a field coil on the loudspeaker in this, but somebody's modified it, and that's no longer the case, because as I pointed out, somebody's put a transformer in there, because if I come off here and I go to T2, I look at the actual circuit. I've closed it down, should have kept it open, the actual manual. So if I just close this window down and I go and look, I bring the manual. I should have left the manual up actually for reference, but me not thinking, I didn't. But that's no problem, we can just reopen the manual. That is not an issue, we can do that while I'm talking. Get rid of these dopey windows off the side windows here. Right, and go to the transformers, and I'm pretty sure other components we want to look at. T2, speaker input transformer. Speaker speech coil, which is T1. Hang on, yeah. Inductor speaker. Hang on. My eyes are crap today. Anyway, there we go. Right. So L9 is the speaker speech coil. T1 is interactive. Sorry, my mistake. Intervalve. transformer, primary and secondary. It gives us all the impedance on there as well, so we can check all those. Then we've got T2, which is the speaker input transformer. So let's have a look at the speaker input. Let's have a look at T1. T1 should be, there's L1, that's the speech coil, that's the voice coil. They call it the speech coil, but yeah, it's the voice coil, isn't it, as we all know it as. There's T2, which would normally be an output transformer, but they're calling it the speaker input transformer. I'm trying to find T1 because I'm sure this is can't seem to see it, folks, but it's here somewhere. I know that because it's in the manual, and I have got the correct manual, obviously. So if I come down here, well, let's have a look at the chat while we're talking. You had to tell Benji I was live. He's obviously not getting notified either. I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's see. I'm looking for T1. There it is, T1, which is the intervalve transformer, and that goes, there we are, that goes to V3, which is the anode of the audio output, or for you Americans that's the plate. I also want to look at oh, pardon me. Right, what I also want to look at is I think the heaters in this are parallel, but I'm not 100% sure. With it being an AC set, they usually are. Where are we up to? We're discussing we're just looking around the audio circuit, Benji. Basically I'm trying to work out if this actually had a field coil on the yeah, well, what I'm gonna do, well, I've actually tested these caps that are in this I've actually tested these capacitors that are actually in that can, in that multi-can, and they're all dead, pretty much. They're you know, but what we do need to look at is we need to look at the capacitors that are in that can. So we need to be testing. We need to be testing C7, C12, C15, C13, C15, C16, C17. That's what everything in this can we need to be testing to start with. There is another one of these cans in there, and it's half the size of this one that we're looking at, and we'll get to that when we get to that side of the radio. That's on the RF side of the radio, so I'm not letting that concern me at the moment. Yeah, C16 and C17. I'm just looking here, and we're coming off the rectifier with C16 and C17, so I think it might. I think the idea. I think the best way is to actually. The best thing is to test those, and I mean they're going to get replaced anyway. So, but I've noticed though with this, there's not a great deal of resistors in it. If I go back to the circuit and have a look at the resistor count. I think it's the first time. It's quite informative, considering that there's not a lot of it. Let's go back up. Yeah, those two big brass transformers, the one laying on its side, I'll just tell you quickly, the one laying on its side is L1 and L2, and the one stood up is L3 and L4, just for those who wanted to know. So what we'll do, go to the resistors. I think this is the first time. There we go, we've got resistors, or resistances as they called it back then. There's 11 resistors in it. Can you believe that? 11 resistors. Got R1 to R11. 11 resistors. I mean, it's the first time I've ever come across a radio where there's more capacitors than there is resistors. We've actually got 21 capacitors in it. Can you believe that? There's 21 capacitors and there's 11 resistors in the circuit. Because the volume control is a rheostat, it's a wire wound basically. And anyway, let's get things moving like Andy Mouse said. Try not to get myself confused. Try not to get myself flummoxed. Yes, C valve is, yeah, there's nothing I can do at the moment, C, because valve 5 is missing, which is the rectifier, and it goes there, and that's why we didn't get anything when I variacked it. All we got was the dial lamp, and I'm not sure about this, whether the valve eaters are in series or parallel. I think they're in parallel. Because it's an AC set. Okay, you go and have your tea, Andy Mouse. Were you having cheese on a trap? Anyway, you go and enjoy your tea, mate. And I've had mine, and I've had mine. I've had a nice hot cup of tea. I was going to say I'm not tired, but I've just yawned, so I must be heading that way. I'm just looking for the, yeah, these are the valve eaters here, A and B. It usually gives you a symbol for your valve eaters, but it doesn't on here. And I think this is coming in. I'm just trying to look at this transformer. Right, well, I'm not, to be honest, Benji, I'm not really concerned with it, because I know it's not a problem at my end, because it notified other people, so you know, there's not a lot I can do. Yeah, you know, there's some people I subscribe to, and and I've got the bell clicked and I don't get notified, so it could be a YouTube thing, I don't know. I tend to not really bother with things I don't understand, and I don't understand YouTube and the way its algorithm works most of the time. Right, so I'm looking for what am I looking for? Right, so basically C12 is in that can, and that's there. Right, well what I'm going to do, because somebody's been at this, yeah, it probably is YouTube, Benji, because other people get, I mean Andy Mouse got notified, anyone else doesn't get notified. I mean, I fail to see what I can do about it, but I will try and look into it. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my multi-screen and I'm going to look at going to the multi-screen. I'm going to get the next picture, I'm going to get the next camera ready that we're going to look at, probably. I can swap them from my seat because I've got two mice plugged in. So I've got a mouse on the bench and one here as well. So anyway, what we'll do, we've got an idea. We know which capacitors, which two capacitors. It's C16 and C17 that smooth the HT. But we knew that anyway. But what we'll do, we'll get the capacitor tester out. Oh blimey, this is massive, this thing. Would be nice if that transformer unplugged, but it doesn't. Right, so I am going to just test. See, somebody's put it would help if this thing had sit up, wouldn't it? So like that really. Let's get this capacitor block. See, we'll shove that under it. There we are. We don't want it on the tuning dial, don't want to damage that, that'll do. Oh, there we go. Now, let's change the picture. There we go. Just making sure that camera hasn't stopped. It hasn't. Maybe all paranoid that when that webcam kept stopping. Right. So we'll get the capacitor tester. It's a shame I've not worked out how to do picture in picture on this yet, but I believe it can be done. And if I put this on this side, there's a very good chance I might be able to see it. No, and I need it more facing me than you do, because I'm the one taking the readings. So we know they're very low microfarad, so we'll put it on 2, and we will start just checking. There's a lot of bare wires in this, and dead spiders, dead arachnids. Right. 0.59, and what is that one? Let's move that wire a minute. Let's turn this round. 350 volt, 300 volts. Right, so that's pretty much okay. That's pretty much okay. That one's open, I think. Oh no, it ain't. Somebody's done. put it on the ground, 0.63. That one might be a bit high. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this cross member here off. I hope it's not bolted, I hope it's threaded. I hope the threads are cut into this and not. I'll take this cross member off, I can work on it easier. Yeah, that's been off recently, in the last 40 years anyway. That is definitely for sure. Yeah, take that off. Make sure that we don't lose the cut washer, the locking washers. See, I can make a note of what I need, but fancy that, there's only like 11 resistors in it. I mean, that's weird, that, isn't it? I mean, we're used to deal. I mean, this is not my. Now, did that undo then, or no? The screwdriver just spun off it. There we go. But these screws are coming out nice and easy. That tells me that somebody's worked on this in the last. I mean, it's obviously it has been worked on. We know that, don't we? Because that capacitor, the capacitor block was changed. That pack was changed. That'll go back in for appearance's sake. I'd love to open it and restuff it, but I don't want to run the risk of ruining it, so it'll go back in unstuffed. But the new capacitors you buy now are a lot smaller than these that have gone in here. There we go. Now we can see. Now we can see what we're dealing with. That's a lot easier. We've got a mustard cap here, 470 nanofarads, so let's test them. They don't usually go wrong, mustard caps, they're usually quite good. So let's test him. Plenty of dead spiders in this thing. Lots of them. Get off me test lead, you. There. Right, so let's put this on to 200. No, we need to be a bit higher than that. .485, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's a little bit up, but not as you'd notice. We've got this. We've got bare wires here. There's more dead spiders. I mean, this must have been home. There, right. So this one here is what I wanted to look at, wasn't it? And that's a 0.5. And what are they telling me it is? Let's put this back on put this back on. No, 2UF should be okay because it's 0.5. Oh, 0.63, so that's a little bit up, but not stupidly though. Then we've got this one here at, see, now I can move things about and really look and dig into it, you see, and that's, and that one there is 2PF. So if we go to stay on that range. read. Let's go down, go to 200 PF. No, come down the ranges till we find the one that does. I hate that, you know, when you just can't. It could even be 2 UF. Let's go to that, because it's the writing on it's smudged. Right, I think this one might be open. We've got another one behind it. What's that one? I'm going to have to take this board here out, I think, so I can see what the value of that one there is, because I can't see this board's in the way. And so let's have a look, see if we can lift this board just enough to look behind. I just hope there's no nuts on the other side, because we don't want nuts that fall off and nuts that are difficult to put back into place. Well, that's nice and easy, isn't it? That just comes out once you lift that up. I might have to clip a couple of these wires, but that wasn't very tight. Now, we've got wires down there. We can't. Oh, it's 2 UF. Just managed to see it. It's 2 UF. So it's 2 UF that one. So let's see what that one. See what the one on the other side of it is. I think they go together. So if I go to there, so 2 UF. Right, let's have a look. I can't see through that camera because it's showing that transformer. What would be nice, I can't get that camera where I want it, so what I'm going to have to do with there, move that out of the way. Let's go to 20, see what we get here. Right, 6.6, right, so that's reading 6, so they're giving that there in parallel. Given that they're in parallel, I'd say they've gone up a microfarad each to 3 microfarads. That's what I'd say. So basically we've got the 05s, 0.5 even. We've got the 0.5s there. We'll get all that lot looked into. I'm not worried about the top half of the chassis at the moment. It's just, oh, pardon me. It's just the bottom half where the arachnids are. That's what we're thinking about at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of there's a couple of Hunt ones in here. What's this one? I'll just turn them round. You see, they're in parallel, so they're 2 UF. All these Hunt ones are going to be out of spec. They always are, and they're 6 as well, so they've gone up a bit. Yeah, they're in parallel then. These are paralleled. They're paralleled. So basically, we're going to order 2.5s. So we want 2.5. We want a couple of 0.5s. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we can actually probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, because most of these were in that can, and we can probably put in we can probably put in 4 microfarad instead of putting 2 capacitors. We could probably put 1 in because they're paralleled. They are paralleled, these. And I'm going to lift the chassis up to see if I see through this end and have a good look. Yeah, they're paralleled. I can see it. Yeah, they are. They're paralleled. So basically, I can get away with putting, because what have we got here? That's the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a dead spider hanging off my finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 of those arachnid capacitors. We're going to call this the arachnid radio of death. It's full of dead spiders, folks. It's horrible. The arachnid radio of death, we'll call this one. Good evening, Mike. How are you doing? I'll put the circuit back up in a minute in case you haven't seen it. I'll come and have a look at the chat in a minute because I noticed you've left a few comments on the chat there, so I'll come and have a chat in a minute. So we've got 7 in that capacitor can there, and here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've actually got 7. So maybe they are supposed to be paralleled up like that. Well, I would have thought so, because these are all coming off onto one ground, and then you've got your various wires going to where they need to go. So I mean that'll explain on the circuit. Put that down there for notes. Leave that up there. See, I don't know how this originally connected in the circuit, because I didn't originally. Yeah, 28th of November 1932 this capacitor block was made, which dates the radio really, because the radio is from 1932. What else are we going to look at? Not a lot really, because I need to get a recce valve and I need to order or look at getting the capacitors. So we can put 0.5s in because somebody else did, and the radio must have worked happily. So we can go for 0.5s. So could really do with a writing implement and parchment. We need a writing implement and parchment. Well, there's a writing implement, but there's no bloody nib on it. Where's my goddamn pencil case? So we need 4 at 200, 2 UF, and these are metallized, and we need, who made these? Some of them are Hunts, but some of them are not. 350 volts they've put in. 300 volts B and 350 volts C. Right. Yeah, 0.5 plus or minus 25%. Anyway, what we need to do, I've got none of these. These are actually non-polarized capacitors. These are non-polarized, they're the same at both ends. So I haven't got any, so we're gonna have to get them ordered. I will do that when I end the stream. I'll do that. I'm going to come and look at the chat, and while I'm looking at the chat, those of you that haven't seen it, I'll put the circuit back up, and you can all have a look at the circuit and drop in your 10 pennies worth, which is greatly appreciated. There we go. Now let's see what we're all discussing. I hope we're not discussing people's fires and stuff. Right, let's come down a bit. yeah, you're all talking about where you buy your caps from by the look of that. Yeah, I use eBay as well, Mike. Right, so yeah, I'm just looking down here because I've read some of these chats. I will tell you what I'll do. I'll start off with Benji. It looks well screened. It does, Benji. It is. It's a nice. It's actually a nicely made radio. No, I didn't get the rectifier valve, Mike. I haven't yet. I'm hoping to pick one up on Sunday at Goldborn. I'm going to make a note of the equivalents. I'll have the Oracle with me anyway, so because this is completely. I will be honest with you guys. This is the oldest radio I've ever looked at, and to be honest, I'm a bit out of my comfort zone with it, but I'm getting used to it. Right, Audio Lab 8000 AM. Ooh, lovely. From a cap kit from Bulgaria. What I do, Mike, with these cap kits, I try and find out what's in them, and then make my own up. You know, and save buying them and paying over the odds or whatever for them. Depends how much they are, though. Some of them are fairly cheap. Some people are just too cheeky and want the earth for them. Waited 47 days for it, as it was stuck at customs. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Who do you use and where do you order caps? Well, if you're asking me, Andy Mouse, I order from eBay usually. Anyone, and no specific seller, anyone I can find that's selling them. Generally, Mike orders from a place called Audio High Store. Yeah, I think I've heard of that. Harvey, what's Harvey saying? Yeah, Harvey gets his from Cricklewood Electronics. Not Edgware Road. Nice amp. Race. Yeah, Benji's commenting on that amp of Mike's. Yeah, nice amplifiers. I hope you get one at Goldborn, Andy. I'm sure I shall. I'm sure I will, mate. I can remember. Hang on. I can never remember Cricklewood. Where's Goldborn? It's up near Wigan, and that's in Lancashire. And is it Wigan or Warrington? Have I completely just had a brain trump? Have I completely just had a brain fart? Is it Warrington? Yeah, it's up near Warrington. Sorry, not Wigan. It's up near Warrington. And Warrington's in Lancashire. It's about an hour away from me, depending on. Well, I say about an hour away. It depends on how far. It depends on how far Steve puts his toe down on Sunday. I've heard of Cricklewood. I've never been, but I've heard of Cricklewood. Yeah, who hasn't? But yeah, we're looking at. So basically, we're looking at. Let me just pop onto Fleabay. Have we got any drop frames on here? No, we haven't. We're doing well. That's because I don't have the browser open at the same time. I'm going to open it now. Let's go to Fleabay and see. about looking at for our capacitors. See if we can find what we want. Non-polarized electrolytics. eBay. Non-elastic socks, non-polarized. Polarized. Electrolytics. Just put in non-polarized capacitors, easier. If I've spelled polarised correctly, I've got a feeling it should be a Z and not an E, and not an S. Oh well. It's brought up well actually bipolar, aren't they? Bipolar, non-polarised. They start from, well they're a bit dear. But then again I'm not paying for them, so it doesn't matter. 63 volt, well they're not high enough. Select voltage and capacitance. So we'll select, no they're nowhere near the voltage we need. Phew, no, none of them are any good. They're no good at all. We need capacitors rated in we're going up though. I don't want to buy when it says audiophile, you just know they want a fortune for them, so we won't even go there. 220 pieces electrolytic capacitor. What are they now? And they're actually not what we want. I'm just looking because I'll probably have to go and get them from Goldborn, but we've got some here. 7 vintage Plessy electrolytic capacitors. They're even the wrong voltage. I'm probably going to have to get them from Goldborn. I don't want to buy new old stock electrolytics because they're usually dried up and no good, usually crap. I'm probably 2x vintage Pleasant. No, I don't want to buy Pleasant. I don't want to buy old stock. I don't want to buy new old stock. And there's nothing here at really over 100 volts. Oh, here we are, 47 UF. But they're not. They're what do you call it? No, they're polarised. You could probably put polarised ones in them if you put it the right way around, but we want to try and keep with what's being used. Right, so there's nothing really there. Now what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to Google it. Let's go back up to the top of the page here. I'm going to have to Google it and see what Google does for me. See what Google has to say. It's come off Freebay, because Google will find something and then direct me to it, all being well. Non-polarised capacitors. Let's put in the voltage we want. We want 300 volts. $300 volts. Just see what we come up with. 300 UF, 300 volt, 100 volts. I'll probably have to go and look at Goldborn on Sunday, but we'll get them. I mean, it's not a question of that. We'll certainly get them. There's Mauser. They're doing them at £1.34, £1.34. But do they do them in the voltage I need? Do they do them in the? Is that an electric? That's a non-polarised. At least I think it is. Yeah, actual. Aluminium. Yeah. Yeah, but they're. Let's have a look at the. It doesn't show the other side. No, I think they're polarised then. They're polarised. Why is it you put in non-polarised and everything's polarised? It does me head in. Non-polarised capacitor 2.6 UF for 300 volts. Now that's near the mark. Let's click on there, see what they've got to say. I'll click on there and there won't be any there. They're not electrolytic. I wonder if you could. Do you have to use electrolytic? I'm not consider. I'm gonna have a look later because it's being a tad ignorant, isn't it? Do you have to use electrolytic? That's the question. I don't think I wouldn't have thought it. Yeah, that's the problem with cheap ones, Benji. Hello, Theo. Just seen you appear there, Theo, because I've just come back. I was on Freebay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it for now and I'll order them. I'll have a look at Goldborn and see. I'll see what we've got at Goldborn that weekend and see if I can pick them all up there. I'll make a list of what I need and see if I can pick them all up at Goldborn. And I've got them then, haven't I? I mean, the radio's not going anywhere. You were just about to make a brew, Theo, just about to make a brew when you saw I was live. Oh well, thank you for sacrificing your brew, but there's really no need. Just make a brew and come back, you know. I do that when I'm watching live, anyone live. If I suddenly feel a compulsion to go and have a brew, I make a brew, come back in with it. Yeah, but it's full of dead spiders, that thing. I mean, yeah, full of dead arachnids. Yeah, good job I don't suffer from arachnophobia, innit? Yeah, I always check capacitors before installing RV. you know, I always check it, well, most of the time, and there's the odd time one or two slip through the net, but yeah, Warrington is near Benji, you think. Are you going to Goulburn, Benji? Is anybody else on here? Hands up, though, all those who are going to Goulburn. I know any of you that live down south, I know you lot are not, because it's too far for you to come. But hands up those who are going, because I'll look out for you. I mean, you'll all recognise me. I'm a big fat man. I'll be a big fat man in a pair of jogging trousers with a t-shirt on and a video camera. Yeah, it's about 7 hours from you. It's not worth the drive down, is it, Harvey? I mean, give your car a run out like, though. Cricklewood electronics are expensive now. Well, the problem with them being expensive is they tend to go out of business. Yeah. Well, they go out of business. They go out of business nowadays. I mean, there's not many high street electronics shops left because it can all be done online, and those that are left are not that brilliant. It has to be said. CPC, I think, is still going. Well, I know CPC is still going because Steve gets my soldering iron tips for me from there. Steve always picks me my iron tips and stuff up. Anything I need, he gets me. Does this Philips radio have Yes, it's a really strange setup. What it is, it has like a rheostat for an exposed rheostat for the volume control. It's this Sunday Goulburn, mate. Yeah, I'll just answer. I'll just answer Theo's. I'll just answer Theo's. Yeah, CPC still goes on. I'll just answer Theo's question pretty quickly. Yeah, Theo, it does have a volume control, but the on-off switch is a mechanical affair. It's a single throw switch, and it's like a toggle switch which is mounted into like two jaws which swing left and right to switch the switch on, and it's quite elaborate. If I can get a camera in there at some point, I will do it. Yeah, it's basically a swap meet. It's a type of swap meet. You just go and buy. You just go and buy stuff that you need on the day, and have a chat with people that you might meet up with. It's run by the British Vintage Wireless Society. That's who runs the swap meets regarding radios and stuff around Britain, I believe. I don't know whether they do the Hamilton radio swap meets, but they certainly do the vintage radio and television and things swap meets. You know, there's televisions, record players, radios, spare parts, just about anything that anybody's got they want to get rid of on the day. I know, Mike. Be nice to meet you, old fella, but I know you're on the other side of the Irish Sea. I know that, my friend. No worries. But you'll get a glimpse of it anyway, because I am going to do a video on it, and then when I come back I will upload the video for you guys. Yeah, I wouldn't, Harvey, because you'll get sued, and if you kill him you get done for murder. I know someone who did that once. They connected 240 volts to their windows, to their downstairs windows, and it was in Wythenshawe years ago, and somebody got electrocuted, not killed, they just got very severely electrically shocked, and the occupants of the house was actually done for it. You know, no longer. No, you would, Harvey, I think. We had a great surplus component place downtown back in the 80s. Yeah, they were everywhere, weren't they, Benji? You know. How many of yous lot? We have a Google. We'll have a Google later. Thanks for the information. No worries, you go for it, you have a look. But I'll be putting a video up on Sunday, because I usually do, if I can, I usually do make a Goldborn video. It'll be starring me in the Oracle, obviously, and anyone who comes up to say hello, and you know, anything I buy, I'll try and show you there on video, but I will do a show and tell when I get back. You know, you'll enjoy it, Mike, but they're always a bit loud, them videos. You know, they're always a bit loud because it's a loud place because of all the people. It's a noisy place because of all the people that are in there. And, you know, let's just take this circuit off the screen, because we've all you know, we've all looked at the circuit, haven't we? We're only interested in the power supply, really. So what I can do now, I can give you a bit of a better view of something. There we are. And as my other camera decided to freeze, let's go to Sony 2, and let's just check it. I'm going to be convinced here. Yes, it's not frozen. I was going to say I'm going to just move. See that camera, the other Sony camera is a bit sharper, and the reason why that is because I've made some adjustments to this one to get the colours to be very similar, because of the position of that one and the position of that one. You get two different shades of colour. So in order to get them pretty much balanced a little bit, I've actually adjusted. So that one looks, so the one that you're viewing now does look a bit softer, but there's nothing I can do about that until I get the camera a bit higher, which is the plan. I want to get the camera a little bit, getting the camera a little bit higher would be nice, because then I can use the full focal length and the full zoom length of the lens and get the benefit. But and that big lump you're looking at there, and I don't mean me, is the mains transformer. I spoke to Andy today that owns this radio, and he's been watching the videos. He watches all my videos, not only on the stuff I do for him, but he watches all my videos on everything else as well. Most people tend to. I don't know whether anybody's noticed a difference in the audio, whether there is a difference in the audio, because I'm using the camcorder that's on the windowsill. The other one I was using was the I'm using the microphone, should I say. I've got that set up as a dedicated microphone for anything that's connected I am going to connect, I'm going to get another USB extension, and I'm going to have a webcam on the side. I'm going to have the web camera on the side so that I can move in and out if I want to show you something or move around something, or just get a different angle. I'm going to have the webcam on backup so that I can bring that in if I need to. So you know, yeah, we're getting pretty well up now with the cameras. I mean, I thought that other Sony there on the windowsill was useless because it didn't come with a dock, but now I can capture the video via the HDMI adapter. That's made it useful, and yeah, you know, it's turned something that was a useless piece of garbage into a useful piece of, well, I won't say garbage. Sony cameras are not, they're very good. In my opinion, I think Sony cameras are, you know, but I don't think they grind their own lenses. I think the lenses are made by Canon, because I've taken a few Sony cameras apart and I thought I found Canon lenses in them. Yeah, it does. It sounds good, doesn't it, Mike? It's not bad. And you probably hear me a bit louder as well because I'm sat a bit nearer to it because it's right in front of me. So when I'm sat here working and I'm explaining something, you probably hear me a bit louder. You know, like when I'm sat in this position here, you probably hear me a bit louder. What I need to do next, the next plan would be to get another small monitor that can sit maybe on the windowsill there, and then I can have the I can then perhaps have the chat up and read the chat sitting here instead of having to go over to the computer to read it, because I've got the mouse. I've got an extra mouse here. I can change. I can do all this. You know, we can even have that picture which we've not seen for a few. There we go, look at that. A load of lovely old radios, all sorts of stuff there. There's a couple of 8-track players there by the look of that, or certainly one anyway. You know, and we can move around different things all at the press of a button. You know, who would have thought, folks? You know, at this point in time, we would have had, you know, all this technology where we can just press a button and move it and change from one camera to another and stuff like that. But anyway, getting back onto this, if I can ever find me specs, they're here somewhere. There they are. If I can ever find me glasses. Give them a clean, they're a bit foggy. I mean, it doesn't help that my eyes are 56 years old next week. It's my birthday on the 11th next week. I'm another year older. Doesn't necessarily mean another year wiser, but I'm doing my best. Are they? Yeah. There's something stuck on that one. What's that? Yeah, there's something stuck on that. Before anybody asks, it's not a bogey. Don't know what it is. Something, a bit of grease or something. Just give it a wipe and get it off, because I'll see that in my peripheral vision. It'll do me eye in, do me head in even. I'll see that through the glass. And I'll do me head in. I did that one clean because I touched it a minute ago. There we go. That's better. Oh yeah. Anyway, if I can explain about this on-off switch and volume control, that Theo was asking me about. I'll try and explain it. But this is a heavy chassis, folks. Oh, Jesus. God, this is not light. I'm trying to turn it round so that I can get my hand up behind that coil there. Now let's take my glasses off, because I need my glasses off so I can use. We want to zoom in on this portion where my finger is. Now, do we have the ability to do that? Because I want to show you all this. So if I move that now back that way, now we come in again. Right. Now, where the screwdriver is there, that's your on off switch there. That's your on off switch. And to the front of it there, just there, is your volume control, and there's your shaft. Now if I put my hand on the shaft, there, you see, and if we turn it off, there, there's two little forks there. A little two, to see it. There we go. And that's how it works. Crude but effective. And I don't have to worry about the switch being open or anything, because I know it's not. Now if I put this back down again, because I'll tell you what, is there anything else we can look at while we're here? Not really. Let's just get my hand out of the way. Oh, I tell you what, that's heavy. Oh, oh. I bet my mate Warby wouldn't have trouble lifting that. I've seen his wallet. Anyway, but that's how the switch works, Benji. Sorry, Theo, because Theo was asking me about the switch. Let's zoom in a bit. Right, Theo was asking me about the switch, and that's how the switch actually works. It's very crude, but very simple. And I've just heard a car door. And am I going to get an impending visit off the Mildred? What time is it? Because I've not looked at the clock for ages. Vice Grip Garage. I need to unsubscribe from him because I don't watch him now. We've not watched him for a while. Well, I'll stay subscribed for a bit longer, but I don't really watch him now. Not watched anything he's done for quite some time. Not that there's anything wrong with him, there's not. His channel's good. I've just not seen it, I've just not got to it for a while, so, you know. It's funny though, he's a good guy. Yeah, and it's, what I say it was, 20 past what? 26 minutes past 8. But yeah, the valves are all up on the windowsill, and one of them's rattling inside, so I think this is, I think to be perfectly honest, this is probably going to need a full set of valves. I would have thought, but we don't know that till we won't know that till we get the rectifier, and I've got to get the rectifier, so because he wants it done, so I've got to get it. And he also wants me to put a switch and a socket on, so that he can connect an MP3 player of some description, so that he can play period music through it. Because it's AM and just medium and long wave, and there's not a great deal there nowadays. Now let me roll back over to the chat, to the computer, and Yeah, they are. Yeah, well, the volume. Well, I don't know about the volume control, but the on-off switch is certainly okay, because the on-off switch is okay, because when I turned the on-off switch on, the dial lamp came on. So yeah, like Thorne's turntables. Yeah, yeah. But that's how it works. That's how it works, Theo. I thought I'd just do that give you a quick look at that. Yeah, I thought I'd give you a quick look, and we now know where we are with it. It does have a gramophone input, Theo, but the gramophone input, according to the manual, it tells you that to use it, you have to have an external volume control, and I presume they want you to put the volume control in between the cartridge and the input, because I don't think the volume control is the volume control of the radio. I don't think it controls the volume of the level of input going into the being fed into the gram socket. I think the gram socket therefore must connect directly to the grid of the first audio valve. I think that's how they're doing it, because that's what it tells you it needs to do. That's what they're telling you to in fact, let me have a look at the circuit. Going to take a testosterone injection tomorrow to boost your energy levels. Right, I fail to see where that's relevant, but yeah, I'm lucky at the moment. I don't need any of that rubbish. I've got plenty of energy. In fact, I've got that much energy I can afford to waste some and have a kip in the day if I get bored. I don't every day, but if I get bored I go to bed. But only if I get bored. Now let me have a look at the circuit again. I'll try and explain about this gram input. I'll tell you what it says about the gram input. Because I did read something about it. Here we are. Gramophone pickup. 2 sockets are provided at the rear of the chassis for a gramophone pickup, but an external volume control will be required for it, as the grid bias potential is applied via the pickup circuit. It says GB, and I presume that's what they mean by GB. They mean grid bias. Pickup circuit. Yeah, via the grid at the grid bias. As the potential will be required as the grid bias potential is applied via the pickup circuit, that should be DC continuity. There should be DC continuity between the pickup sockets during pickup operation. External speaker. 2 sockets are provided in the external speaker plug for a high impedance, about 10,000 ohms. Bloody hell. External speaker. When they are used, both speakers operate. If it is desired to mute the internal speaker, the plug may be withdrawn, and the sockets in the main chassis can then be used for the external speaker connections. Yeah, so you know, be interesting to measure the voltage across that that speaker output, wouldn't it? See what's on it. Certainly wouldn't want to do the wet finger test and put my finger there. Wouldn't want to do it on the gram pickup either. But I think that explains the gram pickup, doesn't it? So I'm going to have to. It doesn't say what value volume control should be used. It just says an external volume control. It doesn't say what value. Oh, are you off, Mike? Right, you go sort your wife out, mate, and you take it easy. And give her my regards, and I will sort the video out Sunday and you can see what we've all been up to at Goulburn. I'll catch you later, Mike. You take it easy, my friend. We've got Harvey there. I'll be going soon as well because I need to go for a personal break and you don't want to hear me doing that. And I wonder if you can see wire at, wonder if you, Theo's asking, I wonder if you can see the wire, if you can, sorry, my eyes are foggy. I wonder if you can wire the gram input on the volume onto the volume control. Seems to be how other manufacturers do it. I'm not sure. I need to look at the volume control and see how the volume control works. On a lot of these early radios, some of the volume controls were, well, this one is a rheostat, and some of them actually just turn the heaters up and down, or in worst cases turn the HC up and down, you know, to achieve the volume. Yeah, someone did do that. Harvey's on about loving guns as well. I don't like guns. Guns are an instrument of the devil, a bit like the saxophone. Well, not so much the saxophone, more the violin. That's an instrument of evil, isn't it? The violin, it's a horrible instrument. I mean, how could so many people think something so scratchy and piercing sounds, how can they say it sounds nice? Anyway, I take it out on the rats. Yeah, no harm in shooting rats, is there? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it could be at least 1 meg, the potentiometer. I can tell you actually. If I go back to the parts, I should be able to tell you what the volume control actually is. If I go back to the parts list, I should be able to tell you what it is. It'll be down as a resistor, won't it? So it's down here. We're in the wrong place. Oh no, we need to go up, I think. Right, R1 is, that's not it. R2's not it. Nope. Nope. We've got R7, which is gain control decoupling, and that's not it. That's not it, that's not it. And R11 is the gain control, which is 600 ohms. It's a 600 ohm pot. That's got to be the volume control. They call it the gain control. So that's got to be it. But we'll go to other components just in case I've misjudged that. I don't think I have though. Waveband switches, mains transformer, speaker input, speaker speech coil, blah 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 blah. No, the gain switch. They don't call it the gain switch. They don't call it the volume control. They call it the gain control. It's called the gain control, and it's 600 ohms. So as long as that reads around that region, then we should, it's wire wound, so it should. So as long as that reads 600 ohms and or something near as damn it, then we're good. 500k ohm log would probably do it, yes. Well, that's what's in it. I mean, right, so let's see where we're up to here now. Yeah, so Theo doesn't think Philips would have done their volume control that way. Well, that's the way they've done it. It tells you in the manual, and it's 600 ohms. So, you know, which is what, it's half a meg in it, just over half a meg. You know, is it? 600. Well, it's 600 ohms. So 500k, a 500k pot would do it, wouldn't it? Six hundred ohms, that's strange. Well, it's what they've put in there. That's what it says on the parts list. So, you know, and it's that is the volume control, because there's nothing else in there that actually says. If we go back to the circuit, go back to my big version, which is full screen, I can see it, read it better. Let's see where the volume control comes in. Just see which one it is. It's R11, gain control. So let's find R11. Hey up, the police helicopter's out again. R8. R8, R9. So oh, there it is, R11. The one with the wiper on it. And let's see where it's coming in. It comes in through R7 on the wiper. Ooh, I don't like that. Let's see where it comes in. It's we're coming off the rectifier on C17 straight around. We're going through L8, then we're going into R11, then into R10 and to ground, according to that. Lovely. Yeah, so we've got HT on the volume control. No wonder it's wire wound. There's going to be a few volts. I won't want to put my finger on that. I certainly will want to connect the gram input to it. Now I know why they're taking the pickup straight to the grid. And then the wiper for the volume control comes through R7. I'm tracing this back. There's the pickup socket. Yeah, the pickup socket is before R7. So let's follow that back. Let's go back. And we're going into C18, which is a variable capacitor. And yeah, we're going to, that's weird. Yeah, we're going C8, we're going to C18, but there's also a switch there as well. L2's got a switch on it, switch 1. So switch 1, that's not on and off, because switch on and off is switch 4. So switch 1, that must be a waveband switch. It's not a pickup switch, because the pickup isn't switched. But yeah, the pickup, sorry, I'm looking at the, yeah, that's right, the wiper, yeah. But the actual input of the pickup is going straight into valve 3 to the grid of valve 3. It's going to the grid of valve 3, and then we've got a switch 3, which has got to be something to do with waveband, unless there is, unless the waveband switch has 3 positions, and one of them, the centre one, could be gram, or the one, or the back, or the furthest one in, or the furthest one out even could be gram. I'll have to look into that a bit further. But the pickup, yeah, I've just traced this out. The positive side of the pickup goes into C10, and then to the, sorry, it goes, yeah, C10, and goes into the grid of valve 3, and on the other side of that we've got C10 and C9, and they go into the anode of valve 2, and that goes to the that then comes out the anode, yeah, and then we're into L5, and then yeah, but yeah, why they want you to put a volume control on for the pickup, I'm not sure, because the wiper, I think the wiper comes to the ground side of the pickup input. Yeah, the wiper comes to the, it must do, and the other side you have to put, the other side goes to the grid of valve 3. Yeah, so you know, it's actually a very simple chassis, really. You know, when you look at it and you figure it out, it's actually fairly simple. It's not a difficult thing. Yes, it is. I know. I did realise I made a mistake, Theo. We all make mistakes. Yeah. I know it's only half a kilo. I know that. Yes, I was aware of that after I said it. Yeah. So don't act like you've never made a mistake. We all do it. None of us is perfect. Scraps doesn't go out nicking sausages. He doesn't have to, he gets plenty. No, they're not looking for him. Probably looking for scumbags that live around here. But there we go. I don't see the point. There's no, when they get them, they don't do out with them. All they do is put them up before the courts. And I'm not going to go into that. I'm not even going to talk about that. I don't talk about that sort of thing. I'm just looking. Yeah. So yeah, it is. It's half a. It is. It's half a kilo home. Yeah. So, you know, depends on what wattage it's rated at. Whether or not you can put a modern control in there, and I don't think you can, because you put in because if we go back to the circuit, we'll do it here. Come out of studio mode so I can read it, and I can keep the chat up then. There we go. See, there's pickup there, and it go straight into the grid of valve 3, which is what it says it does. Because it's it's at grid bias potential. Where you're meant to mount the pickup pot, it doesn't say. It just says that it requires a separate volume control across the pickup. So, which means you would have to put it. Well, it would have to go across the pickup, wouldn't it? If we go back to that, let's go back to that manual. covering all ground here now. But I want to make sure everyone understands what we're talking about. Right, gramophone pickup. 2 sockets are provided at the rear of the chassis for a gramophone pickup, but an external volume control will be required for it, as the GB potential is applied via the pickup circuit. There should be DC continuity between the pickup sockets during pickup operation. That's what it's saying. And if you follow the circuit, you can clearly see that it goes into, I'm on the circuit now, it clearly goes into valve 3. Goes into the grid of valve 3. It's before C10 and C9, and goes in between. It goes into the grid of valve 3, and that's how they're doing it. By the look of it, that's how they're doing it. And valve 3 is your first audio stage. Valve 4 is your audio output. That one there down there is your recce, as we know. The other 2 are just they're just being used as your frequency changer and your oscillator, these other 2 here. And you've probably got your detector built into this one as well, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that, but I haven't checked it yet. So where you're meant to put the pickup pot, they don't say. I would imagine you just leave it floating. You build a little box for it and leave it at the side of the radio or something, or you could probably build it into the record deck that you're connecting to it. You could put it in there, you could put it on that and turn it up that way. But you know, we'll deal with all that, because the modification needs, well, Andy wants the modification making so that he can use the radio to play period music from an MP3 player. It'd be easier getting a small AM transmitter and doing it that way, but you know, he doesn't want to. He wants to do it the way that he's said, and that's the way it will be done. But where you put the pot, where you would mount it, you'd probably find somewhere in the back panel to mount it. You know, you'd probably have to drill a hole or something. But that being said, I don't think many people actually used the gram input. A lot of people probably didn't even know it was there. You know, so a lot of people probably never even used it. When all said and done, I mean, I know it's there because I'm reading the manual. You know it's there because you're reading the circuit. But the average Joe on the street, they wouldn't know, would they? You know? The average layman, they wouldn't know what was there and what wasn't. But when all said and done, I think when all said and done, you know, they don't tell you where you mount it. They just tell you where you put it. I would imagine you could just mount it. Is any holes in the back anywhere? There's actually a couple of holes in the back here. Well, look at the back panel. There's a hole in the back there, which doesn't appear to go to anything. So you probably use that. Mind you, the chassis is that high, innit? You'd probably put a hole in the back somewhere. You'd put a hole in the back somewhere, and well, I'm not going to do that because it's not my radio. I'll put the modification in, but if he wants a hole in the back, then I'll do it with his permission. I won't just do it. But I think that's where we need to. Anyway, I think what we need to do really is leave it there for now. We've had a good look at the circuit. I'm surprised Steve didn't come in and I'm surprised Steve didn't come in and have a chat with us, because he was dead keen on seeing the circuit. But then again, he's probably already got the circuit and probably looked at it, and he'll probably comment on it on a future stream. But yeah, for now folks, I'm going to leave it there, I think, because there's nothing else I can do really. I've shown you, you know, what I need to show you. We're going to yeah, the biasing of the valves does look different. You know, but what they're saying is to, you know, if we're still on about the pickup, what they're saying is to connect the volume control across both sides of the pickup. And then two separate let's go back to the circuit. Let's go back to the circuit for a minute and let's have a look at this, because there's something I want to look at that I might have overlooked. Let's come out of there. There we go. Right, so if we come from the pickup, if we come from the pickup, we go up to the wiper through R7. But if we go the other way, we go up into that little network there where L2 is, and C18, and we're around that region. If I just move this chat box up a bit, there we are. You know, that takes us up to where the aerial is, and then we've got the ground there for the aerial, got the earth there, but this second pickup here, this other pickup here, doesn't go to the earth. So can you use, can we apply a signal to either one of these sockets? There's one way to find that out. There's one way to find that out, and that's to do a continuity test and find out if we can. So what we'll do, we'll turn, the chassis round, and I am zoomed in all the way there, by the way folks. I can't zoom out on this camera. Oh yeah, I can. It's as far out as I can go. So what we'll do, we'll turn, oh, we're on the right place now. So what we'll do, we'll get the meter and we'll see. We'll have a look at where these, right, the pickup is this one here, because that one there is an aerial. Yeah, let's just double check and make sure that I'm right. Yeah, we've got, so yeah, that's external, that's the speaker, that's pickup, and this side is aerial and air, so the three earths on this side. You can't see where I'm pointing, but trust me, I know what I'm looking at. I just had to confirm with the back to make sure it's looking the right way, looking at the right thing. Because, right, so what we need to do, right, that's negative of the speaker, that goes to ground. That pickup doesn't. Oops, there we go. Oops. Let's just move that daft capacitor block. Yeah. Yeah, that the pickup does not go to ground, which is weird. So can you use? Let's just come back onto it here. Shove this capacitor block under there so we don't. There we go. Right, and turn this on. There's your wiper. If I go into the pickup and go into it here, now I'm actually wondering, let me just try something. Let's connect both sides of the pickup. It's probably not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Let's pull the see, what I want to know is it switched? That's the band switch there. I want to know if it's switched. Yeah. Yep, that's switched on that side. I didn't think it was. Yep. That's switched. And then putting that right, so that's switched there. So basically I'm trying to find somewhere where I can clip the lead on. So it goes there. You can shove it into there because it goes to there. Right. And that must right. What are them there? They're to break the contact. So basically when you push that, when you pull that out, when you pull the band switch out, it closes that contact, which is very primitive, this. Very primitive, but it's simple. So let's go back onto that. It doesn't ground anyway, but them two. The insulation worn on that or something. Let's have a look at that there, because the idea of that is it's supposed to break the contact, and I don't think it does, because I mean they're together making the contact. When you push that in, it's supposed to break the contact, I would have thought. But these that's weird. Let's have a look at this one here, put it into the middle if I can. There we go. I think these here, these are supposed to be shrouded. And they are, but the coatings wore off them. They're supposed to be shrouded, and they're metal, but they're supposed to be. Let's turn this round so I can get a good look at it. I mean, this is going to be, let's have a look. There we go. Yeah, they're supposed to be shrouded. They're supposed to be shrouded, so that when you press the switch in, it breaks the connection. Because what's the point of having a switch if it's always connected? See, they're halfway between, and they're always connected. Now, if we go to this point here, that's worn. And you can see there's supposed to be a piece of rubber on there, very thin rubber, which is worn, and there's supposed to be something here as well. And you can see where it used to be, because that is supposed to break, because they're made, so go to either side of them here, then if we push the switch in, still there, but that is supposed to have, let's get a piece of heat shrink. Let's just try a little experiment. Let's get a piece of heat shrink, turn the soldering iron on. Let's get a piece of heat shrink, because I've got a feeling that the contact should break. I'm just trying this, it won't be permanent unless of course it solves the issue. And I will look, because I will look at the switches, but I've got a feeling that I'll cut that completely in half, as near as in half as I can do it. I'll do. Bring this forward so I can see what that helps, doesn't it? Dropping your heat shrink into the chassis. I mean, it's not an issue, it'll fall out and it's not conductive, but yeah, fucker. Pardon me French. Don't think that's the piece there, but we'll use that one. Right, that other piece is down there, I can see it. Right, so basically if we put that over the top of the switch, like so. Yeah, because that would then, because I don't know whether it's supposed to open, it would, it's supposed to open both, isn't it? But if I now test the switch, which obviously the switch is going to be closed, so get the meter now. Let's go on the back of the switch here. There we go. Now pull the switch, push it rather, and it's still making contact. How's that? Oh, hang on. Hang on. Right, so this is weird. So let's go down to the bottom there. Yeah. And there as well. That's weird. Yes. Alright. Right, well I've got a feeling. Now these. Right, so I wonder. Right, the switch is grounded here. If I connect that to there, go to there. It's weird the way this thing works. Let's go in between. Right. Right, that goes to ground. I mean it must do because it goes to here. All these bloody dead spiders. Right, so that goes to ground. That goes to ground. That goes to ground. Now, if I push that in, pull that to there, that goes to ground. That isn't. That isn't. And that switch doesn't do much. It's weird the way it works. But it grounds out on there. It's weird. I'm gonna have to look at. I'm gonna have to look at the circuit to see how that works. At first these are supposed to I thought these were supposed to separate, but they don't because they're obviously riveted through there. I need to look under there. Right, I need to see. And you can't see there's a shielding plate here. I mean it's well shielded, this thing, I'll say that. But I think this switch here going on to the tuning capacitor, this side of it here, if I go there, Right, don't go to that one. Yeah, it does, it goes there. That goes that transfer, goes that coil there. Yeah. Yeah, it goes to that coil there. You can't see it, can you? Anyway, let's go to the other camera. Let's go to the other camera. I need to see what we're looking at here. Or you need to. There we go. Just zoom in a little bit and I'll show you. I'll try and explain it. Right. This switch contact here. This switch contact here where the meter is goes to this coil here. The bottom of it does. Now if I pull the switch out, is it supposed to just separate? Connect to that. No, it's still the same, so .4, 0.5, and that's 25 ohms. Now if I flick the switch in, put the switch in, then go do it again, 0.5, .5. So basically to change the wave bands it must be switching these in and out, and the same, and this one here goes to the, this switch here, the top of it goes to the, or you'd expect it to go to the ground. That tuner isn't. The helicopter's still out, it's going past. Right. Yeah, and the bottom of that, I've worked it out. Yeah, I've got it sussed, I think. So we'll go here. And then go push that in. That's it. And then pull it out. It still goes there, but nothing on that one. So let's see where the bottom one goes to. Goes to this wire here, and then that disappears and I can't see where it goes. It comes out up here somewhere, but I can't see. Probably goes to a valve pin. But I think the way the switch is working is it grounds any one of these for the wave bands. So I think that's how it's doing it. But I'll have to look at the manual and be more certain of that, because that is the most weirdest, simple though. It's simple, but it's the most weird switch arrangement. As I say, this is a type, I'm not familiar with this type of radio, with a radio this old, because most stuff I mess with is 50s or 60s, at very pinch late 40s, but this is right at the very beginning. This is this is, you know, this is early 1930s, 1931, 32, and you know they were still developing the radio as we know it today. You know, they were still developing things. As we know, as that camera locked up. No, it hasn't. It's behaving itself. But it wasn't that webcam because it locked up yesterday before I came on. But I sprayed some stuff into the cable, so that's probably sorted it. So let's go and see what Theo's saying. I mean, yeah, this is a bit strange to me, this, because and the soldering iron didn't heat up because, of course, the soldering iron plug's turned off because I forgot to turn the damn thing on. Never mind. Anyway, we don't need it. Right. Are you watching? I can't pronounce your name. What is it? It is an old radio, Theo. Yeah, that's why I'm not familiar with it, because my area is 60s, 50s, that kind of thing. You know, it's I mean, this is more Steve's area of expertise. But then again, what isn't? He's very good, isn't he, Steve? He's excellent, to be honest. I'm still trying to pronounce his name. I can't pronounce it. What? I don't know. Oh, it's a bird. What do you mean, your name's a bird or you're a bird? I don't know. Anyway, you're welcome anyway. Right, with you, yeah, with you. No, well, you're more than welcome anyway. What's your proper name? It's easier to, yeah, you know, for easier reference. You know, because I can't really say, well, that's, yeah, that's it, that's what's his name, it's really a bird. That's, yeah. But, yeah, you know, but you're more than welcome, no worries. The more the merrier. What we're actually discussing, if you haven't been, if you've only just joined, it's a half-inch. Right. Yeah, a bit like being a, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I mean, basically, this is not my area. This type of radio isn't my area. This is more Steve's area of expertise. But like I say, what isn't? He's a good all-rounder, isn't he, Steve? Brilliant all-rounder even. But you know, like this, the old saying, innit? If you want to learn to swim, you've got to just jump into the water. And this is an easier radio to do because there's not a lot really. When you look at it, there's not really a great deal to it. It was in the early years of radio development, and there's not a lot to it. Let me just have a look at those switches. What we'll do, we'll have a look at the switches together. We'll have a look at, I'll bring this, I've clicked the wrong one, doesn't matter, as long as I don't click the webcam because there's nothing plugged into the socket, the webcam isn't plugged in. So what we need to do is come out of studio mode. Right, if we look at these switches, I want to look at these switches. Well, actually I'm going to go to my copy of the circuit that I've been looking at because I want to see what the switches are. Switch 4 is the on-off switch, and if I zoom in, I'm going to need to, because this plan is pretty, this under circuit, under chassis plan is pretty sketchy to read. So if I now come on a bit higher, So switch 1 and switch 2, switch 3, yeah, switch 1, switch 2 and switch 3. Right, they're what we're interested in. So now if we go to the circuit, so if I go back, drop that back down, we go to the circuit, we can see that switch 2, which switch 3 is there, switch 1 is there, and the switch 1 comes down and it unswitches. It's in between switch 1. We've got switch 1. Switch 1 jumps L2, and then it comes down. It's on either end of the contacts, on either end of L2, and it comes down and it goes to pick up 2 and then carries on, goes through R7 to the wiper of the gain control, or the volume control, shall we call it, R11, which is described in the manual as the gain control, but we all know it's the volume control. Yeah, well it will be. Well, it will be because yeah, I usually do give Phillips a wide berth, to be honest. But I'm doing this for a good friend, so you know I'd like to do it for him. So you know, and Andy knows I like a challenge. So switch 3. I've still not spotted switch 2 yet. Switch 1. Where's switch 2? And there's switch 2 there. So switch 2, where does switch... First of all, let's see where we know where switch 1 goes. We've traced that. Switch 1 switches out L2. Switch 2 switches out L4. Grounds it out. And switch 1 goes between, switch 1 goes through, oh hang on, no, I'm on the wrong part, no, I'm right, switch 3, sorry, we've got mixed up there with my switches. I've just got mixed up with my switches. Yeah. I'll catch up with the chat in a second, guys. Switch 1 goes through C8. If you're following along at home, if you're playing along at home, switch 1 goes through C8 and it goes all the way up to the anode of a V2. But just before it gets to the anode, it also goes to C10, which goes to L4, down to ground, and goes to C10, which goes down the pickup, which goes to the grid of valve 3, and then the grid goes down to R4, which is probably the grid bias resistor. Whew. If I've explained that right. Yeah, I hate Phillips rubber belts as well. They turn to gunge. Horrible things. Anyway, folks, the more I do this, the more I'm getting an understanding of it, and assuming I can get everything I need at Goulburn, and we can get this thing up and going. You know, it's an easy chassis to work on. There's not oh, pardon me. Like I say, there's not a lot to it. I will go through it. There will probably be another video on it before Goulburn, and that'll be where I try and work out all the wires that go from the transformers, the IF transformers, and try and test them and make sure that nothing's open, because if anything's open there, then it's game over. We'll also check the mains transformer, the main smoothing choke, the output transformer. We'll check all the transformers, probably do that in the next video, because if any of them are open, it's game over. Because I don't want to spend Andy's money on parts for a radio that we might not be able to mend. So I want to make sure that we can do it. I want to be at least 100% sure that this is going to do something once we put all the new parts in. Because you know, this thing's older than me. I mean, 1932. I wasn't even born in 1940. I don't think my dad was. My dad passed away in 93. I don't think he was born in. I think my mum was born in 1935 or something like that. You know, yeah, she was born 1935. My mum, because she was telling me that when she was a kid, when war broke out in 1939, she had a Mickey Mouse gas mask. All the kids had Mickey Mouse gas masks. Yeah, George Formby did a song called "I Did What I Did With My Gas Mask." I wonder what it was he did with his gas mask. Anyway. But anyway, I think I'll leave it there for now, folks, because to be honest with you, I do need to go and take a personal break, and I don't want to leave the live stream running while I'm doing that. Certainly not. Last thing you want to hear is me sat on the bog. Anyway. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there now, folks. I'm going to bid you all good night. And join me for the next one when we come back to this lovely old radio and see what state the transformers are in. Well, actually, Theo, it is a TRF set. It is. It is a TRF set, believe it or not. I didn't think it was at first, but it is. It says in the manual, TRF. If I just zoom out a bit, because this manual's impossible when you zoomed in. I zoomed in so I could look at them switches. But I can go a bit further out. Here we are. Circuit description, where are we? Right. Right, so here we go. It tells you somewhere. Circuit description. It tells you somewhere. It's a TRF set. There we are. 2-band TRF receiver designed to operate from AC mains. Yeah, it's TRF. I mean, it's probably a good TRF for its day. And let me just go back to that manual. Before I do go, let me just go back to that manual, because I've seen something that talks about those switches that I've been interested in for the past half hour or so. Yeah, it's a full wave rectifier, but in the circuit it shows it as half wave. Unless I'm not seeing the other bit. But never mind that for a minute. I want to go back to, I want to find them switches. Switch 4, which operates, oh no, that's the valve. S4VB, that's the RF amplifier. It tells you what all the valves do. I want to find that switch. It must be further down. Waveband switches, because I seen it and I thought, oh, well, I need to look at those. But I went all the way up to the top. Here we are. Switches S1, S3 are the waveband switches ganged in a lever operated assembly indicated in our under chassis view. The switches operate by a push-pull movement of the tuning right hand control. Switch 1, switch 2 are closed on medium wave. Yeah, closed on medium wave. Control pushed in, and operate and open on long wave. Control pushed out, pulled out even. The action of S3 is the reverse of this. S4 is the OMB mains toggle switch mounted in a small bracket beneath the chassis behind the gain control R11. A claw operated by R11 control in turn operates the switch. Yeah, it tells you all here, but the pickup isn't switched. According to this, the pickup isn't switched. Voltage adjustment, no, that's just for adjusting the mains. Plan view, top of the chassis. Right, well, I'll close the manual for now because I'm doing nothing more on it now. Because I'm gonna go to the lavatory soon and make myself a brew in that order. Oh, you're going to Goulburn, Simon? Nice one. Yeah, the more the merrier. I'll see you all at Goulburn as well, certainly, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And do you know something? The week's dragging because I'm really looking forward to it. And because we didn't have one at the beginning of the year, we never had any last year, so you know, I'm hoping there's going to be a good selection of stuff. You know, me and Steve want to get there nice and early, so I'm hoping when we get on the motorway he's going to put his toe down and we can get there nice and early before all the other people get there. We can have a good look and get some nice things. But I'm not buying any radiograms or tape recorders. I might go for a couple of record players. Certainly got to be buying parts, and I've got a list that I need to get for other people while I'm there. My mate Fred wants a few bits. Mildred wants a couple of bits, and I need bits for Andy's radio here. So that's where we're up to. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, folks. You all take care and enjoy the rest of your evening, and have a better day tomorrow. I hope it's a nice day for everybody. I hope we all have a good day at Goulburn. I will be back on hopefully tomorrow, and we can perhaps go through this thing and check all the transformers, all the big transformers, and see if we can make sure that they all have continuity, and you know, and hopefully I can get the stuff I need when I get to Goulburn. Anyway, folks, thank you very much. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do so. Click that subscribe button, and if you want to be notified, click the bell of any videos any future content. Click the bell. You go for it, folks, and you all take care, and I shall catch you all later. Bye for now, folks. I should play I should play the British National Anthem at the end, shouldn't I? No, it might look, could be copyrighted. Catch you later folks, bye for now.